Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my very first single book review, which I'm quite excited about. I'm obviously at a slightly different angle than normal for when I film in my lounge, because I don't know if you can see here, this is Gary's birthday present, which he knows about, he chose. And it's like a, I'll show you, it's a motorbike like sculpture thing. It's going to go on the wall up there where you can see that picture, the edge of that picture is, but it's obviously not up yet and I cannot lift it. It's like 22 pounds. It's really flipping heavy, and I forgot to ask him to help me move it this morning, so I've got to sit at a slightly different angle to normal because I can't lift it, and I'm scared that if I did lift it I'd drop it and then I'd break it and then he'd probably leave me. So we're just going to roll with a different angle today. So, if you guys have been watching me for a while, you'll know I haven't done a single book review before, and I'm slightly intimidated by it because I realised that not everyone's going to be interested in this book, but I read it this month and I think it's my favourite read of the year so far, so it felt like I should give it its own space on the channel. And you'll already know what it is from the title of this book, but it is The Rules of Magic by Alice Hoffman. Ugh. I loved it. So, if you don't know who Alice Hoffman is, I'd be surprised because she has written dozens of books. Like, that's the list in the front of the book of all the books that she's written. So she's prolific, and she's probably best known for writing Practical Magic, which was turned into a film in the 90s, early noughties, with Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. And oh god, I love that film. It's one of my favourite films. It's one of those films that I've watched like dozens of times. My friend Steph and I would like sometimes come back from a night out and put that on, and we can literally quote the whole thing. And it always makes me cry, and I am always like left feeling really empowered. And I actually didn't realise that it was based on a book until Steph pointed that out to me last year. And so I read Practical Magic at the end of last year, I think, maybe just before I started doing BookTube. And I adore the film and I love the book, and one thing I quite like is that they're very separate, they're very different. The book takes the rough storyline, I mean the film takes the rough storyline of the book and then kind of does its own thing with it, and so actually going into the book it's a lot different, but Practical Magic was written first, and it basically tells the story of the Owen sisters, Gillian and Sally, and it's just kind of their family history. They're witches, they're a family of witches, and their ancestor basically cursed all the women in the family, so that any man that fell in love with an Owens woman would ultimately die. And it's kind of about the sisters and their story, and yeah, it's just wonderful. And it's got this beautiful quote at the end, which is also in the film, and it's one of those rare things. I don't have any tattoos because I'm a chicken. But if I was going to have one, I might have this quote tattooed somewhere, and I'll just read it because I just adore it. So it says, "Always throw spilled salt over your left shoulder, keep rosemary by your garden gate, add pepper to your mashed potatoes, plant roses and lavender for luck, and fall in love whenever you can." And yeah, it's one of those books I came away from it feeling really empowered. It's a lot about being a woman and the power of being a woman. And it is feminist, but in a fairly covert way. I don't have any problem with overtly feminist books, but this one has got like a quiet power to it. So I read that, and then Steph, who's like become my book oracle somehow, said, oh, there's a prequel that Hoffman wrote called The Rules of Magic, which is all about the great aunts from this book who also appear in the film, and it's the aunts' story. And so I added it to my TBR. I wasn't like in a massive rush to read it, but thought I'll give it a try. Added it to my TBR and it came up for March, so I bought it. First of all, can we just talk about how beautiful these covers are? And they're not like, they don't match exactly, but they're sort of along the same theme, which pleases me deeply. I mean, the Practical Magic one is this beautiful deep blue with the roses on, and it's sort of the life and death cycle. So yeah, that's a nice one, and it looks nice on my shelf. And then The Rules of Magic arrived, and I just really like this edition, and actually it fits the story so well with just this like very natural kind of cover with a woman on it, and again it's going to look really nice on my shelves. So Oh, sorry, I'm waffling. This tells the story of the great aunts of Sally and Gillian from Practical Magic, and also their brothers. So it's the three Owens children. It's set in the late 60s, early 70s, mostly in New York City, but also Massachusetts, where they have got their like family home. And I'll read you the back because that's probably better than me waffling on. So it says, know that for our family, love is a curse. From the beginning, Susanna Owens knew her three children were unique. Franny, with her blood-red hair, who can commune with birds. Jet, shy and beautiful, who knows what others are thinking. And Vincent, who is too charismatic for his own good. Susanna needed to set some rules of magic. No walking in the moonlight, no red shoes, and certainly, absolutely, no books about magic. And yet, despite the warning handed down through the family for centuries that love will be their own undoing, the Owen siblings will break every one of these rules and discover who they truly are. Oh, I want to read it again so badly. So we've got three characters. We've got Franny, Jet and Vincent. So Franny's the eldest, and then there's Jet, and then Vincent's their little brother. And it starts when I think Franny's about 12, and they suddenly get summoned to their aunt's house who lives in Massachusetts. Now they know that there's something weird about their family, but their mother won't talk about it, and she's very strict about kind of suppressing that side of their nature. And then they go and spend the summer with their aunt, and basically all three of them gradually learn that these little skills that they've all had, so like Franny can communicate with birds, they will always fly to her. Jet can hear what people are thinking, and Vincent's got kind of foresight, and people are just drawn to him in a way that most people aren't. And they basically learn about themselves over the course of that summer. And then it follows their lives from that point through their adolescence and into adulthood, and it's about the things that happen to them. And it's kind of a family saga, I guess. Like there's no big thing that it builds up to that happens. It's just about what happens. It's about them falling in love. It's about grief and loss. It's about being yourself, about finding yourself and being yourself. It's also set against the backdrop of 1960s and 70s America, so we've got things like the Summer of Love, we've got Woodstock is referenced, we've got the Vietnam War, so there's a lot going on. There's a character in here who's gay, and that was illegal at the time, and it's about how they deal with that, and it's about family. It's basically, to me, I came away feeling like this was about love in every form. So it's about romantic love, family love, sibling love, friendship and that kind of love, but ultimately about loving and knowing yourself, and that is what will kind of set you free, is just accepting who you are. And I just think it was so powerful. The writing is beautiful, and yeah, I can't recommend this highly enough. It was beautiful. I really want to read more Alice Hoffman because I enjoyed Practical Magic. I think I gave that 4 stars because I think it was only because it's so different from the film that I wasn't expecting what it actually was. So it may well have been a 5-star if I hadn't already watched and loved the film, but I gave it 4 stars. This is a definite 100% 5-star read. I will definitely be rereading this at some point. I also want to read more of her, but if anyone can recommend me where to start, because there's so much of her writing that it's a tiny bit intimidating, so please recommend me some Alice Hoffman if you know. And just read this book, read it. I adored it from start to finish, and actually I don't often cry at books. I can think of a handful of books that make me cry. I cried 3 times during this book because I was so invested in the characters. I cried twice actually whilst reading, and then I cried at the end because it was over and I was sad, which is not like me at all. It also gave me 2-day book hangover. So that tells you how much of an effect it had on me, because I can literally go from put one book down and literally 5 minutes later pick another one up, and I had to wait a couple of days because this just stayed with me. It's just amazing. I cannot believe that I didn't read it before. So yeah, that is all I have to say. I've done a 9-minute ramble on this book. That's why I had to do its own video before I do it in my wrap up, because otherwise my wrap up would be like 40 minutes long. But I would highly recommend this if you like character driven but emotional and kind of empowering reads. Both of these books I found really empowering, and that is something to be celebrated. So yeah, go and read this book. Tell me what you think. Recommend me some Alice Hoffman in the comments. Recommend me any other authors that are like this, and I'll see you next time. Bye!